This is a toy from my childhood called NakNak, and if you can find this one particular figure, I will give you $500 for it. 10 months ago, I made a video about this long forgotten toy called NakNak, and I thought that would be the end. But something that I didn't think was possible happened. But before I get into that, let's really quickly get you up to speed. Hasbro released a collectible toy / game in 2001 called NakNak. It had a Happy Meal promotion back in the day. That's where a lot of people remember it from. The toy line only lasted 2 years, being abruptly canceled in 2003. Most of these figures are pretty easy to find, but there are a few that are a pain in the ass. I made this video and asked anybody to reach out if they had any of these rare NakNaks, and to my surprise, I got a few offers. The first figures I was able to secure were the Gorton Fisherman Naks. These were part of a mail-in promotion if you bought Gorton's fish sticks back in about 2003. Back then, mail-in promotions were a lot more common than they are now, but still I imagine there's not a whole lot of people who participated in this. These figures have shown up on eBay a few times, but they're still pretty rare. I've seen them pop up like once a year, if that, and a lot of times the seller doesn't even know it's rare, so it can be hard to search for them. Still, I wasn't too surprised that someone had offered to sell me these figures. I figured that if anybody was going to reach out, it would probably be about these ones. What I didn't expect is what happened just a few days ago. NakNak is a very niche topic. There's not a whole lot of people who care about it anymore. There are only a handful of people online who are really interested in this. But amongst this small crowd, there was a rumor floating around. Before NakNak's official website went down, there was an image of 2 promotional figures that were supposed to be released at some point, but no one really remembers the details of this promotion. And what's even worse is all official images of this promotion are completely lost. Since NakNak was abruptly canceled and several of the products that they had announced were canceled and not released, it was unreasonable to believe that these 2 mysterious figures were never released. 17 years went by, NakNak faded into obscurity, and no one had seen these 2 mythical figures, or at least no one who did thought it was worth sharing. But in 2020, 17 years after NakNak had been discontinued, one of these figures was actually found. By a stroke of luck, someone found the elusive Hasbronak. Now we had one single person online who was known to have almost the entire NakNak collection, and even though he was missing one figure to complete the entire collection, he was still the only person ever known to actually have a Hasbronak. Until now. Look what I found. To my absolute shock, another person reached out to me out of the blue, showing me that they had a Hasbronak, and even better, they were ready to let it go. He told me he acquired it from a collector because he thought it was neat. He told me that that collector acquired it from a Hasbro employee, and he didn't know much else about it, but he was aware of the speculation that this was some sort of promotional item or maybe a mock-up for a toy fair. This speculation doesn't confirm much on its own, but just the fact that 2 of these have now surfaced is incredible. I honestly didn't believe that anybody would reach out about a Hasbronak. It was too rare, it was too niche, or both. I didn't think anybody would email me about this. But now that somebody has, I've become a bit more excited and optimistic that perhaps we can find the last figure that no one seems to have been able to find at all. What I want to focus on this time is the alleged Today Show Nak. If you have this figure, I will buy it from you for $500. This was the second figure that was allegedly promoted on NakNak's website next to the Hasbronak. It has never showed up anywhere online since this promotion that is now lost. And just like the Hasbronak, no one really knows anything about its origin. I mentioned this in my last video, but what I did not mention is how much work I put into trying to find any information I possibly could about this figure. I started with the obvious. I reached out to the Today Show and surprise, no response. But I kept digging for anything related to toys or toy shows associated with the Today Show from 2001 to 2003. And I discovered that Today does this thing called Toy Test, where experts review the latest toys and tell you what's hot. Now, according to a blog from Nintendo World Report in 2003, this event was held at the Pacific Science Center every year. So I thought I'd reach out to them and see if I could get any information. The person I got a hold of contradicted what this blog post says and said not only have they never done a toy show with Today, but they've never collaborated with NBC at all as far as this person knew. This could definitely be true, or it's possible that this employee didn't work there when they did this in the past. But all I can do is work with the information that I have. Now, while I was researching these Today Show Toy Test events, one name kept coming up. Herb Weisbaum. He was basically the toy expert who wrote up these articles and reviews, so I thought I'd try to reach out to him. And to my surprise, he responded. He told me he does vaguely remember this toy, but as far as he knows, it never showed up at any of the Toy Test events. This was of course a little bit disappointing, but I'm very appreciative that he was able to respond and clear that up. The only other lead I had was the NakNak event that apparently happened in downtown Disney. I believe this is in Anaheim, California. Unfortunately, it would appear that all images from this event seem to be lost. I was originally researching this as a lead to the Hasbro Nak. I guess it's possible that the Today Show Nak could somehow be tied to this. I just don't really see how it's connected. connected. But I thought I would include this in case anybody else wants to do their own research. So I have a little bit of contradicting information here, but the one thing that is consistent is that none of these people know anything about NakNak. If this Today Show Knack has nothing to do with this toy test event, I really don't know what else it would be associated with. At this point, I've tried reaching out to Hasbro PR twice now, haven't heard anything. I'm really just at a dead end. This is what led me originally to believe that this figure just doesn't exist, but I'm not completely confident in that assumption because no one thought the Hasbro Nak was real, but 20 years later, 2 of them have showed up. No one knew the vertical Nak even existed, yet that showed up 17 years later. This figure doesn't seem to make any sense with the context we have, but if it is real, I now think it's possible for us to find it. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if anybody has an authentic Today Show Nak, I will offer you $500 to buy it. But even if you don't want to sell it or you don't have it, if you have any photos, information, or any leads, please reach out. My email address is in the description. Let's finally find this thing.